Minnesota taking on Dallas, 17-18 on the rotation. Minnesota minus 115, road favorite here, total 5.5, shaded to the under, slightly shaded to the under at about minus 115 in this game. I'll tell you what, I know we don't trust Minnesota on the road often this season, but if there's one spot you may want to do it, maybe it's tonight. I honestly don't know what Dallas is going to bring you at this point in time. I mean, the stick a fork in them, much like Calgary. They're done. That loss, like the other night to this Minnesota team, bounced any hope they had of making the playoffs. They're six back of St. Louis now for that final spot. It's not happening for this Dallas Stars team. Disappointing flame out here in the month of March. They needed to play their best hockey this month. Unfortunately, they played their worst hockey. Not good enough from the Dallas Stars. Actually, 5-2 that game ended the other night. Minnesota defeating Dallas. Revenge spot does not matter to me here. Dallas looks like that game took a lot out of them mentally. You could see their faces after walking off the ice in Minnesota the other night. They know it's done. They know they've really massively disappointed this season with that loss. That's officially knocked them up. Not really officially, but for all intents and purposes, they're out now, Dallas. They know they've been a massive underachieving team, and they've played their worst hockey at the worst time. I just wonder if this team's got the collective gumption and resolve and resilience to bounce back tonight. I'm not so sure. When you're a team that's 1-9 in your last 10 games, sputtered out of control, haven't played good defensively, Kari's been letting them in as usual, in between the pipes for the Dallas Stars with Ben Bishop out. He's gone back to that same old Civ self that he's often been in his career. So, yeah, I don't want Dallas here. Minnesota or pass for me. Let's go to Alex B. Smith, Wild and Stars. He's always got a good thought when it comes to the Minnesota Wild. Alex, what do you see?
Yeah, I'm going the same route as you are with Minnesota, even though they're on the road to a team that's hard to trust when they're away from St. Paul. But they understand that they've got to win, games on the road from here on out. Especially if they want to be a playoff team and make a deep run for a change in the postseason, you got to win games on the road. So, why not beat up a team you just beat up at home? Like you said, 5-2. Not only did Dallas looked demoralized in that game, but Minnesota really picked up a lot of energy in that game, especially in the second and third period. And that's always a confident thing to see. It wasn't just a walkover 5-2 win in their eyes. They played hard. They did things they need to do and got the job done. And they played a full 60-minute effort against a team that pretty much clocked out within 20 or 30 minutes. So I think we see more of the same here, and we're getting a really good price at minus $1.10. I'm looking at Minnesota here tonight.
Yeah, Minnesota, totally agree. I mean, it's hard to make a case for the Stars right now. Don't know what you're going to get. Don't know what you're Kari Letton, like I say, he's been awful. The defense has been awful. They've been giving up 3, 4, 5, 6 goals, it seems, nightly during this dismal run that they've had. So I probably would lean over the total as well, but I probably prefer the Minnesota side a little bit more than the total. Dana Lane, Minnesota, Dallas. What do you see here? What do you like?
Yeah, I'll make it a trio. I mean, there's no way that I'm going to bet the Dallas Stars, even though they're at home tonight. I guess my only, first of all, it's time for this team to be eliminated. Every single year we do this, there's always one team that goes out and makes a big splash, and everybody jumps on them. And the Dallas Stars were certainly this team last year. And if you go back in the archives, I wrote a whole article about how the Dallas Stars are not going to make the playoffs, and it's come to be. I mean, it's you can't put it, it takes a year or so for these guys to really start buying into well, in this case Ken Hitchcock's system. And I can't imagine what that locker room is like at this point. I mean, Hitch. I mean,
Shit
he's
show.
probably,
That's what it's like. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's probably gone off publicly 150,000 times. I mean, he's uh, it's not good for that dude to go off because he's he's a heart attack waiting to happen. But um, uh, you know, this is going to be a wild team, and at least is going to get a day off after playing 3 and 4 or 4 and 5, one of those. But they have a day off. They're focused. They've been playing as well as they possibly can at this point. This is usually the point, where Minnesota kind of starts to peak a little bit. Bruce Boudreau's in there writing a speech about how they're going to underachieve in the postseason, but they're going to be fantastic during the regular season, which they have. The only thing that I worry about a little bit is the fact that they only had 22 shots on net the other night against Dallas. But I don't foresee that. to be an issue tonight, and I think that was more just of the way that the pace of the game was going. I think they really could have opened that up if they had to. Minnesota's just a little bit more reliable on the offensive end than Dallas is at this point. In fact, I mean, I know Minnesota's not great offensively, but Dallas in the last month, from the 28th of February, is like 29th in the NHL in scoring. So that to me, when you're that low and you have some of the guys that they have, that's telling me you're a disinterested hockey team. And I have, the Stars got a terrific first line with Ben Sagan and Radulov, but I'm not betting. I'm not betting one line teams that might not even show up tonight. So I like Minnesota minus $1.10 tonight too.
All right, Minnesota for Dana Lane as well. You look at Minnesota recently. I mean, they're 4-3 their last 7 games. They beat Vegas, Arizona, Nashville, and Dallas. The 3 losses, all in extra time. 4-3 overtime loss to LA, 2-1 overtime loss to Boston, 2-1 shootout loss in Nashville. I can live with those losses. Overtime or shootout against those 3 teams. LA, could be a playoff team. Boston and Nashville are 2 very good hockey teams. Yeah, I mean, there's no bad losses in there. Minnesota, they have played very good hockey as of late overall. I think they've definitely got a good chance of continuing it tonight because, again, when you have the kind of aspirations and hopes coming into the season, I was one of the people that actually kind of liked this. I thought Ken Hitchcock would clean the team up defensively a little bit. It just did not happen fast enough, and it's actually gotten worse here in the month of March. And the blue line, it's not. I thought the coaching could make this decor better defensively. It hasn't happened. Mark Mathot being injured for most of the season hasn't helped. And your Greg Patterns of the world, Essa Lindell's on this Dallas blue line. They're not very good defensively. Klingberg's great offensively, but a very big liability at times in his own zone defensively. For as gifted as Klingberg is in terms of moving the puck out of his zone, his skating ability, his power play ability, he gives some of those goals back. Then he gets at the other end with his play in front of the net. That's the problem with John Klingberg, and that's why I don't consider him an elite defenseman, and you got to be a little bit better defensively than that, if you're going to be put in that range. So that's my issue with Dallas. The personnel to execute a defensive-minded system under Hitchcock's not there. It has not meshed. They got to get better defensive personnel in here if they're going to work with a coach like Ken Hitchcock, who strictly employs that kind of system, or Captain Kangaroo, who employs that kind of system, as I like to. He's got a big resemblance to Captain Kangaroo here, Ken Hitchcock. Old Bob Keeshan, you remember that old show from the 50s to the 80s, Captain Kangaroo? Yeah, that's Ken Hitchcock, definitely. Big time resemblance there. Andrew McGinnis, Minnesota, Dallas. Let's get to you on this one. I have a feeling you might make this one a clean sweep for us here.
Yeah, I'm not going to take too long on this one, guys. I think, specifically, Ian, you always make that joke, Kari, letting them in, but I really do think that it's the defense and it's the back checking that really matters. Like, I'm really glad somebody else said it, and to quote you and to quote Dana, that this defense lets their team down on a nightly basis. But even more importantly, they're a one-line team. I mean, they have a couple guys that can really do some stuff that's very, very special. But other than that, they don't really seem to give one shit about back checking. They don't seem to care about going down the depth chart. Their goaltending situation, sure, there's been some embarrassing goals let in, but that's not the whole thing. That's not what the biggest problem is in this Dallas team. It's the defense. And I think, everyone thinks this Minnesota team isn't the highest scoring team. I'll tell you right now, against a team like Dallas that just does not care about defense whatsoever and has Kari letting them in just back there hovering around in nets, not even stopping a sliding puck on the ice. I mean, this is going to be an embarrassing game. I think that the number that we're getting for the Wild right now at minus 111, I'll gladly take this one, guys.
Yeah, it is cheap. I mean, it really, really is. I know it's because it's Minnesota on the road, Dallas at home. I understand that, but that's not playing to the situation that we've got going into this game. And what we've got is Minnesota playing pretty good, and a Dallas team that, to me, could be totally dispirited. So, really is a simple.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.